In this video, we'll be using the Intermediate Value Theorem to determine if a polynomial has a real zero between two given numbers. The Intermediate Value Theorem says, basically, that if you have two numbers on your x-axis, let's call them a and b, and we calculate f of a and calculate f of b, if f of a and f of b are opposite in sign, then that means there is at least one real zero between a and b. So basically what we're saying is on our graph, if a is here and b is here, let's say f of a, which is the y value when x equals a, if that's positive, and the y value when x is b is negative, then somewhere in between a and b, the graph has to cross the x-axis. So we're guaranteed that we have a zero, at least one zero between a and b, because the graph has to cross the axis. So what we're going to do then, for our function f of x equals negative x cubed plus 2x squared minus 4x plus 5, what we're going to do is calculate f of 1 and calculate f of 2 and see if those two values are opposite in sign. Now I'm going to use synthetic division to calculate those values. When I use 1, let's see, 3, 2, 1 constant. So there's no terms missing. So I have a negative 1 for this coefficient, then 2, and then negative 4, and 5. So bring down my first term, that's negative 1, 1, 1, there's 3. So positive 2 is my remainder here, and so that means that f of 1 is a positive 2. Now let's go ahead and calculate f of 2 to see if I have a zero between these two x values. 2 out here, negative 1, 2, negative 4, 5. Bring this number down, negative 1. Negative 2, 0, 0, negative 4, negative 8. My remainder is negative 3. So whatever the remainder is, that's our value of f of k. So f of 2 is negative 3. Since f of 1 is positive and f of 2 is negative, then that means there is at least one real zero between 1 and 2. And notice we could graph these f of 1. So when x is 1, y is 2. So that's a point on my graph. And when x is 2, y is negative 3. And that's a point on my graph. So my graph has to go through the axis to get from this point to this point. It will cross the axis somewhere between 1 and 2.